So they stole it. Why do you know where they took me? Though I want that. Can I have my iPad?
To the Premier of the Northern Cape Province on the racial enclave of Orania. On the 22nd of April 2025, we are here to deliver this memorandum. And it reads as follows in terms of the introduction. The part A of it says, we, the economic freedom fighters in the Northern Cape, gathered here on behalf of the oppressed, landless and dispersed people of South Africa, and in particular the people of the Northern Cape. We submit this memorandum to the office of the Premier to demand a decisive political and administrative action against Orania, an apartheid-era racial enclave operating with impunity in a democratic South Africa. Orania is not merely a town. It is a deliberate ideological project of white racial self-governance, upheld under the false narrative of cultural autonomy. It undermines the value of non-racialism, equality and unity that are enshrined in our constitution. It violates the aspiration of those who fought the gallant wars of resistance, did so to resist forced dispossession of land, wealth, livestock and heritage, and it contradicts the mission of economic freedom in our lifetime for all who live in South Africa. This memorandum is delivered to your office as the highest provincial authority responsible for governance in the Northern Cape. You are charged with ensuring that all entities within the province operate within the bounds of the Constitution and principle of democratic governance. Orania does not. You all know that. Part B, the conceptual background. Orania is a town that excludes black South Africans by race, language and culture under the pretense of African cultural preservation. It is enforced and closed self-governing system that denies black people the right to live, work or own properties in the area. This is not culture, this is not culture. It is a modern day apartheid, and it is a political experiment in ethnic nationalism that uses the language of self-reliance to disguise institutional racism. This town, funded in part by public infrastructure, tax system and supply chains, openly violates the spirit and letter of the Constitution, being former colonial and Western imperialism powers to gain sympathy and support for their cause. As part of this, they spread dangerous misinformation about so-called farm murderers and the fabricated narrative of white genocide in South Africa. They claim that they have been widely discredited and condemned by reputable human rights organizations. These tactics are designed to paint the democratic South African state racial exclusion and economic insularity. This manipulation of global media and imperial nostalgia is not only dishonest but represents a direct threat to national unity, social cohesion and democratic sovereignty of this country. Part C reads as follows, comrades. Our demands to the provincial government. We come here carrying the burdens of the millions of the landless, economically excluded, racially subjugated, historically disposed, and deliberately marginalized South Africans in a revolutionary mass action under the leadership of the EFF to make the following non-negotiable demands to the Premier of the Northern Cape and the racist enclave of Orania. We demand, comrades, that the Premier publicly condemn the racial exclusion policies practiced in Orania and refer the matter to the South African Human Rights Commission and Equality Court for urgent investigation and legal intervention. That's what we are fighting for, and we are not going to be tired for demanding what is right for our people. The Premier's office must commission a full audit through the Provincial Treasury and Auditor General into any public infrastructure, provincial grants, subsidies or state services accessed by the Orania people. The people of the Northern Cape have a right to know how their resources are being used to maintain a town that denies them access. They are lying when they say they don't need anything from the state, they don't need anything from us. It is not true. The truth is what we are telling you today. We demand a review on Orania's incorporation under the municipal and provincial governance framework. All bylaws and special arrangements that enable Orania to operate as a de facto independent municipality must be made public and subjected to legal scrutiny. A land audit must be conducted to determine the ownership and use of land in and around Orania. No section of land in this province may be reserved for a one race like your Freedom Front and their friends.
Conscientiously, okay? And the best of my ability. Conscientiously.